Hey, my name is Ritter. I want to talk about Microsoft Graph and a specific tooling that I've written called the Graph Preprocessor. So if you do something with Microsoft Graph, maybe you should stick around because what my code or my solution is doing, it tries to preprocess all of the independent code parts. So which means if you have a command like in the script here, which is not influenced or has any sign of kind of dependence, then my script just will collect those, put them into a batch request, fire this batch request before it calls your script, and parameterize your script. So basically, when this is the script, your script will look like this now. So as you can see, all of those independent variables for the graph commands are now provided as a parameter. And here, for instance, we have the JSON, which contains all of those little charming commands. And then it just figures out the root. But the thing is, how does the script this do? Before I go to this part, into internals, I just wanted to show you, as you can see here, I have, for instance, the users. And here now I say select ID, display name, and surname, because those, when you ask for them in the string, you only retrieve those properties. So, which makes the call way faster. As you can see here in the script, an original script, there we go. As you can see here, I just said, okay, select object, ID, display name, and surname. So basically what I'm doing is I iterate through the AST, check which variable was assigned to any kind of graph command and is independent. And if this is the case, just collect it afterwards for each collected variable. Just check if somehow the properties are used anywhere. And just collect them and then enrich the URI call just to collect all those information for the batch request. So I can showcase this because now when I want to call my graph script and I change something, like let's say groups, go by 4 dot, I don't know, display name, could be fine. Now I save it, and when I now call my script via invoke graph script, I just point to my original script. Now it will check that the file hash does not match anymore, and it has to do the pre-processing again. So basically in the backend, it just rewrites all of those, the basic script itself and also the JSON file. And it takes a couple of time, but it only takes it once. So next time I call the script and it doesn't have changed, it just starts by calling the batch request on the first hand, and then it will just sorry, and then it will just pass it to your script. So it's then way faster, and also it's just puts out the information you were asking about, and as you can see, it's all good, which is fine. And if I now do it again, but my notebook is kind of broken, so it can take, and it's done. So as you can see, it does immediately, nearly, compared when I call the script itself. Oh, come on. What is, where I'm looking around? Oh, it's in test, sorry. Yeah, there we go. So, when I now just call my graph script, for instance, and it takes a lot amount of time. So I reduce the time for calling that by a lot, as you have seen. And if I now go back, and it's there immediately, like it's shown. So, but how does this work particularly under the hood? As you can see, there are basically in the public folder 2 major scripts. One is invoke graph script, and then I just have the invoke preprocessor command. So basically, I also can preprocess the whole thing and don't have to execute it, but I can do. So, but how I detect that something has changed? Because as you have seen, here's a meter file, and instead of those meter file, I just have the file hash laying. Here we go. For my for my script, and it just compares the file hash. If it changed, okay, then I need to do the preprocessing again, because then I've updated my script somehow. And just give me a second. If it's too small, just shout at me, zoom in. Okay, cool. You have all good eyes. Yeah, basically, as I said, if it's not ready to execute, this is checked by the test preprocessed file function. If it's not processed, then please process it. And then I got the meter file just for information, like, as you can see here, in a GPP folder, Graph Preprocessor, GPP, makes sense. What is the JSON, what is the meter, what's the parameters? Because I have to associate the IDs from the batch request and have to link them to the variable name. So I can see, okay, which response from the endpoint, as I did the batching beforehand, do I have to reassign them, because I just get IDs and need some kind of lookup table. I also could do this via JSON and basically put it in as an array, but yeah, I did like this. There's room for improvement. As I say that, as I've told you, it checks for the properties. What is about when I have something like this? Users 10. Where object. Come on. What could I ask for? Exactly. We take this. So the thing is, we all have learned filter to the left. Yeah, which means basically when I need something to filter, why I should retrieve all of those objects and do the hard work on my own, when I instead could point to the endpoint and say, hey, I need all of the users, and in particular, I need only the display name system is test, for instance. Then I can just say, okay, but how I should do this? So my script should detect, hey, you use where object or any kind of .where, question mark, and so on. And if it's detect this, then I have to transform it into a filter for the, sorry, pardon me, for the actual UI call. Because with the UI call, you can just say, let me go to the batch request. Then just could say, hey, please, what's wrong? Okay, so and then I could say filter ID equals name is like, but this is a really tough part, because sometimes by using Microsoft Graph, you just have to say, okay, starts with. So I can't say, okay, it looks like I did have written it here, like this name like, I should have to say starts with until a certain point. I have to check if there is any kind of asterisk or something like this before or after. So there are many cases and situations where it comes really complicated. Then it's also the question, okay, if it's an advanced search, for instance, then I have to bump up the consistency level. So they say, okay, consistency level is eventual, just to retrieve those objects. All those things are kind of hard to implement, or to say I haven't them implemented yet. I tried, but I failed badly. That's the reason why I took out a part of the where object. But by theory, this is possible. And as you can see, this is just basically a working proof of concept. And who of you ever done something with the AST? The abstract syntax tree. I know you, that you raised your hand. I didn't know about you, and I was sure you did too. So basically the whole thing works like, I iterate through the whole script to the targeted script that should be executed. I try to find a function to showcase it, like here. This function get common parameter info. Here I just want to know, okay, if you have a parameter inside of the function, for instance, you could also say, hey, get mg user dash id blah blah blah. So therefore I just have to check, okay, which parameters have been used and do I have to somehow transform them so that I can enter them into the string for the URI call in the JSON file. And basically this all happens by the AST. So here in this case, I just create a script block. And then, then I create a script block. Then I iterate through all of the commands that I have here asked for. Then I iterate through, like here, for each element in comment AST comment elements. And then I ask the count parameter AST just to retrieve the parameter name and the command elements. Just to retrieve those objects, then I have to decide, okay, which kind of parameter is it? Because sometimes you only have for instance, a switch flag. So then you just don't have any kind of value. And then, like I said, I iterate through, collect all those things, and just build up objects. And in the end, it gets transformed into, like I said, this JSON file. And the script does exactly know, hey, when all those files are present and the script was called, then just pass it in, go along, and we all should be happy. So the major thing is, as I have said, this POC is kinda complex, and I really would appreciate if someone has a little spare time, want to join on my right here. So you can, and I would love to, when you head over to GitHub and just search for HC Ritter, because that's me and my handle. And under my repositories, and I probably should start, but here you can see is the Graph Preprocessor. And if you have any ideas, if it's missing something's not working, because it is wacky as hell. No doubt about it. But the thing is, if you find something, if you have an idea, you want to contribute, just drop me a PR, just drop me an issue, whatever it takes. I would really, really appreciate it. So, and I didn't want to go too deep into code, so if you have now some questions, don't be shy. I would love to answer them. Any kind of questions? Any kinds of opinions? That's lousy. Yeah.
When you're collecting other calls,
Yeah.
the batch endpoint has specific amount of calls. How do you visualize batch endpoint with the queue?
Amazing. I didn't queue yet, to be honest. But what I will do is, this is a fantastic question. So the question was basically, a batch request can only have a certain amount of commands or endpoints that could be called inside of the batch request, and it's exactly 20. So therefore, if I have 40, 50, whatever independent commands, I just have to split them up, have to create multiple batch requests. And what I would do then is basically fire them in parallel. Because why not? It makes things even faster. Yeah, I have to take care of throttling for sure. But to be honest, how often in the day-to-day basis for just a script running, you have more than 20 independent calls. So the risk of throttling you can reduce by making use of batch requests. That's for sure. So one batch request is better than 20 single calls. Pardon me. So
it can be total if you ask a heavy endpoint in the batch.
Yeah.
Only that one can be total in the response.
Yeah, it's also basically, yeah, that's correct. If the endpoint is busy or something like that, you can be throttled. So if, for instance, if I do 19 times user calls, for instance, and one time device management or something like that on the endpoint, and device management is somehow busy, I can be throttled. So you always get also a return code, and also my script does not well, but it does it in some certain way, make use of the return code just to give them information about, hey, look, this happened to you, we have to redo it, and all the stuff. Yeah, but that's the point, and it's not well, but it's somehow implemented. But as I said, it can have some lot of kind of improvement. So, like I said, if you wanna participate, feel free. I would love it. Thank you.